All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the November Hideaway Hills Management Committee meeting. We got everybody here in person except for, Bob's joining online now.
All right.
Awesome. Hi, Bob. Welcome. So tonight's meeting is going to be, we're going to go through some project updates and some of the basic stuff fairly quickly. Just kind of hit on the high points of things, and then we're going to spend the bulk of our time just going through the budget, preparing the budget for presentation to the board next month in December. So just kind of let everybody have there now. So you will see, a couple of spreadsheets presented during the meeting as we go through this as well. Andy?
Yeah, I'm going to give an update on the RFID project. We did come up with a resolution for contractors. So we have that form in the office. If you're interested, you're a contractor. There's a form to fill out in order to be issued one RFID decal. And so we've implemented that, and we've had a few contractors that have come in requesting the RFID tag. But I know that we're getting a little bit later in the season and stuff. Not as much building going on, but that is available in the office. That's all I have on the RFID right now. Roads discussion.
Okay. A quick question on the RFID. Somebody had asked me about motorcycles. Are we out of?
Yeah, it was first come, first serve, and I think we had a total of 75. And I don't know what the number is right now, but we're not able to get any more. That we don't have any more decals. Like they're not even in the country right now.
If they have a shield, can you put a regular RFID on?
It's not waterproof, so I don't know if that will work. We're trying to
okay. All right. Perfect. All right.
Yeah, it's Bob.
Sorry, guys.
He's on two, isn't he? Andy, real quick, can we also, I know somebody asked me about and the office told them they could not have a tag for that. They said, well, can I get just a regular, not an outside tag, but an inside tag? Yeah. Can they do that?
They can do that. I have to check it out.
I think Bob's been on twice.
Bob, which phone are you on? Robert's.
Okay, so I just turned my iPad off. I'm just on my phone now, guys.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
Any more questions on our FID? We'll go to roads. Julie, do you have an update on roads you met with?
Yeah, we did. And Bob was going to give, Bob, you want to give an update on our meeting with Jim and Rick?
Yeah, sure. On that, back to the passes, if I may, you guys, if you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm getting some feedback from the respective contractors that, like we figured, there are numerous vehicles, but whether it be a pickup truck for one job or a plumbing truck for another, but the same contractor, or a big dump truck. It's hard for them to work with just one decal. So I don't know if we can provide an additional decal or sticker, what are the things called, but if that's even a remote possibility.
What we had decided to do is just one per general contractor, and then they can arrange for dump trucks and their other contractors, subcontractors to get in. And
on their own.
Yeah.
Okay.
In
order to do that, Andy,
the contractor could meet them at the appropriate gate. Yeah.
All right. Okay. I just wanted to clarify that because I'm getting some feedback on that. So I wanted to share that. I can go on with the roads if you wish at this point in time.
Yep.
So we met, with Rick and Jim McNabb and Julie and I, and Jim and I subsequently have gone out and looked at different applications with Rick's blessings of different, paving materials, if I may. And we find there, there's different applications that may work better in the hills than others. And the application we did recently is one that it looks great, you guys, but there may be some compromise there when it gets snow on there and or leaves when it's wet. So we're thinking we may need to go back to our regular composition where there's like a little bit of a grit on it, because our pavement or the needs of our community are different than a typical suburb where everything's flat. We need to have our pavement adhere, or our tires adhere better to materials that are more averse to our topography. But I think what we came to really realize in talking to Rick and looking at the monies that we have contributed to our roads, the concern we've really got, just the elephant in the corner here, is the cost of the materials itself. With oil doubling in price over this past year, there is frankly no way we can maintain our roads like we've had in the past based on the expense of that material. Because as we all know, asphalt is, the majority of that is oil based. So there may be a campaign, and I hate to bring this up, that we made, or at least some sort of an open forum for our membership, so we can really understand that to keep our roads in any condition that is favorable for emergency vehicles as well as just everyday traffic, we may need to increase our allocation to the roads. Are you guys hearing me at this point in time? I don't know.
Yeah, but we're trying to get it better.
A better audio.
Yeah. Samsung or what?
So,
Marty, you tell me when you want me to start or stop or repeat. I don't care.
so Bob, I can also
Just go ahead, Julie.
just kind
Julie, can you fill in the blanks maybe a little bit?
Yeah, I think, where we're at, we've had the meeting and talked about the different material, but also kind of looking at, with the funds that we get via the roads assessment, what have we got, what can we do, and what's the best way we can utilize that? As we look at that, then try to maybe reach out to the community and, what are kind of our next steps. So right now it's just like, here's what funds we will have, and then here's what we can do. So kind of more to come on that one. I just wanted to give everybody a heads up that we're taking a really close look at how we spend the funds we've got there from our assessments for the roads.
Yeah, well said. Well said, yes.
Yeah. Folks doing technical.
Yeah, we're trying. Go ahead, Bob. Go ahead and say something real quick.
Yeah.
Test 1 2 3. Test 1 2 3.
Yeah.
Test 1 2 3.
No, we're struggling with it.
Sounds like a better fly home.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you get back here? All right.
Yeah. And I will next time, guys. Seriously, it's not good. I don't know what you can hear, what you can't hear. But I think we
probably did.
I think if you can hear me. Eric Boyce could just text me and said their feed at home is coming through loud and clear.
Yeah, it's us. It's just us. It's us. It's not you. It's us.
Okay, but I think what the membership really needs to know, you guys, is the last thing I want to ever do is I'm very, very conservative minded, but I think there's a point in time we have to realize again, as I mentioned before, when we have a wonderful community like we've had, we've got to maintain it. And no one worries about these concerns or worries about the roads or worries about the expense until there's an emergency in the middle of the winter and we can't get a 911 vehicle back to them. So, and I'm not trying to be an alarmist here, but I think we need to pay attention to the needs of our roads and to maintain them properly, not only for everyday traffic, but for emergency situations. So, and I think it's just a function of, frankly, just, it's like anything else. We just need to really put all the information out there and educate our members so they can make a decision as well. But I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be something we're going to have to resign ourselves to potentially increase our budget for the roads, because it's the cost of these materials and the condition of our roads warrant that. So I'll leave it at that. More to follow. I'll put it that way.
Thanks, Bob. So the next item up is the Lodge Electrical. Quick update on that is that the board approved the funds to go forward with the pool and the trash compactor packages. So that's moving forward, as well as ordering the major equipment for the lodge building itself. So all that's in process. Area Electric's submitting for the permits and working with South Central and everybody to move that along. And I'll be presenting the full presentation of that project to the board next month. Any questions?
Right.
Or this month?
Yeah. I thought, okay, this month's coming up.
Yeah. Next week.
Next week.
The financials.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can hear it out there, which is
We
fine.
could, yeah. And do you want to talk about the capital and that? Do we want to project?
Let's just go through. We'll go with the capital first. You each have a worksheet here, and those of you that, like Bob, you should have sent you the capital spreadsheet as well.
Yes, sir, have it.
Looking at our looking at the balance as of 10/31. Okay, we're at 507,887.39. And I've got on the spreadsheet here just committed funds, things that we've purchased through 10/31, things that we're still committed through this year of 2022, and then what we have proposed wise. And proposed wise for the golf course, new irrigation feed line and pump, directional bore, that's probably going to go into next year. I didn't change that on there. But as you can see on our capital, we've got a very healthy capital account. And it's looking like the estimated balance as of the end of this year will be about 407,329. And so again, healthy balance. We'll talk a little bit more about capital and depreciation in our spreadsheets when we're talking about budget. I went ahead and projected the next 2 years, 23 and 24, for potential capital projects and where we would be in line with that. So with that said, any questions on capital? I went through that quick. All right, no questions then. We're gonna go on to depreciation. Depreciation also very healthy account, 465,643. And you can see on your worksheets here the number of things that we had purchased. I added a few things after I met with Rick and Randall in regards to purchases this year. Back to committed funds, we're looking at, we just added the irrigation controllers. Before in the budget, they were at $12,000 a piece. We were able to get these irrigation controllers retrofit from Rainbird for $2,000 a piece. So we saved $10,000 on each one. We're working with a vendor, Site One Landscape Supply. And those will be in, actually they just came in the other day. They were the wrong controllers. So he brought the wrong ones out, but we'll be getting them installed sooner rather than later. And then also on our depreciation, our fairway mower came in a couple weeks ago that we've been waiting for a long time. And it's now in production and will be used starting next year. So go back to depreciation. We're looking at basically end of year balance at 326,025. Contingency funds of about 25 grand. So we're still our balance for, we're above our balance for. And then we can go into more detail with this when we get into our budgets as well.
No. Thank you.
Don't know right now. Still looking
Thanks,
for
Petey.
working with the vendor to find out where that second mower is. Because I know that the one we ordered was ordered back in September of last year. So we're still looking for the one that was ordered in February last year. So 21. There was 2 mowers that we ordered in 21, February and September. So I've reached out to them and haven't had that word back yet.
Okay.
Any questions on depreciation? Bob, did you have a question? You unmuted yourself and said something. I want to make sure that we're good. Okay. We can go into
Well, I think we'll probably get into that more budget
correct.
discussion.
Yeah.
So we can go down to the open positions and get the service up. And then just get into the budget discussion. There are no e-votes.
Okay, talking about open positions, you can see them on here. Still 2 full-time maintenance workers, 4 full-time security guards, two part-time security guards, and a full-time food and beverage assistant supervisor. And we've obviously filled the food and beverage full-time position lead supervisor with Trecca, and we filled internally our janitor / maintenance. Tina, who was working on our golf course, she was part-time and she full-time position. She's doing an excellent job. The smell that you smell in the back is someone, they cleaned the oven for the first time in I don't know how long. So that's why the fresh, clean smell we have here. I've had many discussions with Trecca, our lead supervisor for beverage, talking about assistant and adding more staff to our lodge and our clubhouse. I'm very pleased with where we are right now. I'll be meeting with her again tomorrow to go over some more, final details on that stuff. So you probably have some feedback too as well. So,
Trecca's she's doing a fantastic job. She's taking the ball and run with it. She is really looking at training the servers, the bartenders, everybody, not only on the ability to serve, but the ability to clean also. Especially with the health inspectors, cleanliness is huge. And talking with her too, in positions that are open, we're looking between 1 or 2 line cooks to help Aaron in the kitchen, and 3 people of age to bartend or serve. They have to be of age because we want to use them both at the clubhouse and the lodge. So, those positions are open. Also, they're not the full-time positions, but they're positions that we need help with. The lodge decor, the food service committee is going to present a plan to the board of trustees next week. I'm supposed to be on.
It wasn't, but it is now.
Okay, just got word it is. They're looking at different tables and chairs and things like that, but they have a whole presentation that present to the board of trustees just to keep things moving.
So JJ, they're going to come actually.
Yeah, it'd be like less than 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Had a conversation with Scott Francis. If those don't know who Scott is, he's the original brewer here. He's looking to step away, but he's willing to train whoever else we want to bring in. We've had conversations with Double Edge. They seem interested, but if that doesn't work out, Scott also has somebody that has been an apprentice to him who can fill in also. It's not as convenient because that person's from Westerville, whereas Double Edge is from Lancaster, so it'll probably be a little bit better. But we'll work on it. We'll see what happens. But he let me know that he was looking to step away. He is brewing the pale. I believe he started last week. If not, it'll be this weekend that he'll start. So we'll have the pale ale available in, say, about a month. That's what I had for food services.
So if anybody out there knows anyone who's looking for any of these positions, where would we direct them to?
Direct them to me. I've been taking phone calls and I give them my email address and just ask for a resume, their work experience and so forth, whether it's security or maintenance or the lodge or clubhouse.
Do we have we put something in the Echo? Are we advertising in the Echo? We should be advertising in the Echo. Yeah. I just like kind of start some of those things because I've run into several people who are interested, whether it be pick up a day here or a day there. Just where do they go? So they don't get lost and they
just trying to funnel it down to me and then I can disperse it.
I actually did a search yesterday on Indeed just to see what was happening in Lancaster. Every single restaurant you can think of is looking for servers. Applebee's, Waffle House, Max and Irma's, Pink Cricket, Olive Garden, Roosters. Every single one is looking for exactly what we are.
Yeah. So, I guess then my thoughts are Indeed's not the place to go. Because everybody's looking there. So we got to come up with like different strategies to attract people. And not that we can't have it, but word of mouth is a place you get. And I talked about dated, but I'm just going to work with somebody to get some cards that everybody can have. If you get great service at a restaurant or run into somebody, we can, say, here's a card here, you can reach out for stuff. So.
Do we put for a brewer too, just as a backup plan, just in case? I mean, I wouldn't mind listening to offers. It's not a full-time job. That's the one thing
based on what you bring, right?
Yeah, it's a 10-barrel system.
Right.
So if anybody knows of anybody, direct them to Andy and
that's where I would put maybe just a little business card that you can easily I'm not sitting here sharing my phone number with somebody and trying to take info and stick it in the pocket.
Those people that are online and so forth are listening to the recorder, the recording, go ahead and email me gm@hahclub.net, not .com. Doesn't get to me net. So gm@hahclub.net, and then just in the subject line, it could be you're looking for work or you're interested in a position, and then I will scan it and just send your resume, your work experience, and so forth, and then I'll go ahead and forward it on to the right supervisor individual as we're doing that. Great.
Perfect. Sounds good. All right. So I think that kind of takes care of everything else on the agenda except for the 2023 budget. So Julie, were you gonna present that?
Yeah. I can pull it. I'm not on Zoom, so he'll pull it up on Zoom so we can all kind of look at it. So we've taken a look at first draft of the budget where we went in and we told Andy to kind of, be his dream. He could get everything he wanted. What would that look like to him? Knowing that he's not going to get everything. He's not going to get his dream this year anyway. And you never get them in budgets. I've never had a budget where I got through it the first round. We're in a unique situation here where we can only raise our assessments up 5%. And as everybody knows, inflation has been running probably close to 8 8 or so percent. So kind of puts us in a crunch to begin with. So you can see on the first line where we have about a 7% increase in our assessment, and that go ahead.
Hey Bob, can you see it?
And then, so you see a 7%, which is an increase in new lots sold, plus the 5% is what you've got going there over 2022. And then we have your new member fee, which is another source of our income, which, you know, we're estimating is going to be down year over year. We had estimated last year we had about, what, 85, was it? 85 new member, collective new member fees. This year we're looking at probably about maybe 35 is what we're thinking. We will get it, it will increase the same as the assessments, but you can see that's going to be a drop in our income.
I'm going to add something too. Wondering how do we come up with these figures and stuff too. And it's looking at, you know, it took us some time. I mean, we've been met 2 or 3 times already for hours on end, just because we want to get this right. You know, and this is a first draft, but we went to our sources, we went to our QuickBooks, we went to look at our financials for the last couple of years. And sometimes it's hard to compare, you know, 2020 and 2021 because those were very odd years with the pandemic. But we did look at, you know, number of new members, you know, houses that were sold, number of building permits and so forth. So we gathered all this information, and that's how we're coming up with these figures and stuff too. So if anybody has questions, that's where they came from. We just didn't pull these out of thin air.
Oh, come on.
Well, that's
the fun of budgets. Wow, let's go this way. Yeah. Anyway, thanks, Sandy. You're right. So, and then we kind of at this point have let the club and the restaurant income, you know, the club and the lodge income total restaurant somewhat flat. We'll be taking closer looks at that one. I think that with Tricka, we may have an opportunity, but we also don't want to put stuff in there that we really don't think is realistic. We only have, you know, you can only spend what we bring in. Right? So, and then as we get down to, as you look at the expenses, we went, go ahead. So, go ahead.
What's in the other?
The other category, let's go real quick over, is we get, there's
a little bit of interest, transfer fees for real estate, rentals, fines for membership. Yeah. And then advertising income for the Echo and the web, and any other reimbursed expenses for legal fees, and then lottery too. And that's one thing that we probably should also talk a little bit about. Is, you know, over the last year, 2 years, we really have not been netting what we were anticipating from lottery income because of expensive, the other expenses that you would have as well. I think the net was like $300 or $400. Right. That is not inclusive of personnel time and expense. So and that's something that I think we need to look at as far as what that might be.
And then we've got, so then we get into our expenses, which we talked are going up. We are going up, and you can kind of see that. And we, as we look at our payroll, which we will be having a much more discussion around, there's big increases there. That is made up of a couple things. One, as you just look, we had quite a few open positions last year. Our goal is that this year, our goal is in 2023, we'll be able to fill those positions. So, you know, as you're comparing 2022 to 23, again, it was, you have a lot of open positions. Also trying to bring some of the positions up to, you know, just looking at merit increases and maybe bringing some of the positions up to where market level. Correct. So those are some large ones there. We then, you look at your the expenses for the clubhouse and the lodge. We've really attempted, you know, not to go too crazy on those, but those are two things we'll take a really close look at, will be the club and the lodge and the income coming in from there. So working with Tricka to just get a good feel on what can we do.
So the 22.6 is what the expenses are. That's not calculating any income off of that, correct?
The income is up above under income.
But the 22.6, that is that the cost?
I think you're looking at an old one.
Yeah, we just added, put some stuff together.
We consolidate stuff.
Okay.
But anyway, so yes, that's your question, JJ. You know, that's just income projected. Yeah.
Okay. So where does this? I know I'm jumping ahead, but it's food and bev related. You get the 189,000 down at the bottom. Where does that come into play up above?
So if you, it should be,
Yep.
but it should be if you took the income of 538,500, take out the payroll for the club and the lodge and the other expenses for the club and the lodge, that should be the number.
So it's income
Minus the expense.
payroll, regular expense. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're going to have to work with all
Okay.
these. So, and then the other large, you know, there were several of them as we were looking at. We, you know, remaining operating, we did kind of try to bring that down a little bit. We really looked at some things. We went line item by line item, just saying, okay, where can, you know, is this something we need? Yeah, you know, so you can see how that has dropped quite a bit. Your utilities and your fuel are the ones that are, you know, are going to be the huge ones, as well as our payroll. So that kind of gives us, if you look at the gap we have, which we should be at a 0, we're at 3 negative. You know, we're in the red by 331.7, about 334,000. So first draft, this is the dream. Now we'll get close to reality.
So, but on your projected for 22, that's actually we're ahead.
Yeah, we could maybe roll something over it if November and December, well, October, November, and December come out to that. So, so the other thing we did, we've done this year in the last couple months is we built where we put our actuals in up until like right now it's up through September. And then we put our budgeted numbers in. So we're not just comparing to a budget. So, okay, this is what we've done to date. So that's where you'll see it called projected versus budget. So
last month in October, we were able to get September numbers. By this
yeah.
time, we don't have those yet.
No, and I think it's because if we, you know, it's really close in time than it was. So it's not unusual to not have numbers at the end of this close. So once you know, process everything, because we.
Now you're going to start talking about accounting.
Yeah. It's not unusual. It's not unusual. I'm not going to sing to you, but it is. I mean, and I think last year, because we had almost an extra 4 to 5 days before our meeting. So I think Penny was working on. We'll probably have them tomorrow or Thursday. So she was working on them today. But yeah. So.
And then how did you guys How did you guys forecast out for the rest of the year?
We use the budget at this for the
Budget?
yeah, we
Okay.
just use the budget at this point. And I think one of the things we're gonna start doing, we'll start utilizing that, but we're also, once we get this budget in, we're gonna start doing a 12-month rolling budget. So you know, every month we're kind of re-looking at the rest of the year, you know, 12 months down. So when we get to this point, we should be pretty close to be able to say, okay, here's where we're at.
So how have we been performing budget? I don't know, every month change. Overall, did we do a decent job, do you think, last year?
Yeah, I mean, 2022, yeah, this year, yeah, I think we're doing, yeah, I mean, with all of the things we, you know, with just the fuel costs going up, all the various things, we're coming out pretty good.
Yeah, like I think actuals last month in September, wasn't it like a negative? We're only off like $5,000 from breaking the budget.
Yeah.
That includes all the transfers.
Everything. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And now, you know, there's 4 months left out of the year.
Yeah. So we're going to do the other thing that we'll add with this budget. We just didn't have all the information at this point. Is take a look at the cash flow for the year. So we'll take a look at our cash flow. What do we got? What are we going to get in? And what's that going to look like by the end of the year? A couple other pieces with the budget that we need to kind of make sure are in here and understand is the expenses for capital, which for next year, the request for capital is, what is it, almost 500, yeah, 544 for next year, which includes taking care of, doing a lot of the silt traps on the cove and the dredging.
Well, this is where we need to, and we started listing out the project.
Yes.
Prioritize.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we need to shift some things around, but we have to finish that.
Yes. Yeah.
And then, you know, Linda brought up in some conversation, right, a good point of publishing a list of the projects so that everybody can see what we're doing, what that schedule is, and what the anticipated budget is, and where we are with the budget of the project as well.
Yeah. And and we've had so much assistance. So thank you everyone who's on committees, you know, who have been putting, you know, a lot of work into what needs to happen to maintain the amenities that we have. So I think you're right. You know, we owe that to not only to them, but to all the members. So
also this capital expense, you know, kind of planning, again, was just, you know, these are projects that we have coming up that we know about, and we have to prioritize them now based on the budget and stuff too. Yeah, it looks like a big number. It could be even bigger, but at least we're getting in line with what we realize needs to happen. How are we going to? In my opinion, too, I think that that you can build the best buildings, and you can have all the equipment in the world, but if you don't have employees that are making a decent wage to run that equipment and to work in these buildings and so forth, that's where we come into some difficulties. So we look at this, we ask, dream a little bit. All right, dream.
And also, when you look at the budget, just sort of as a reminder, 10% the assessment goes to capital. Right. So we know what that's going to be for 2023. So that's not going to change. There's not going to be no money generated, right? So we've got $234,000 to spend.
Right.
That's it. I mean, no, nothing else.
Right.
Same thing on the depreciation, new member fees for any of that stuff. We know what that can be.
Right.
And we see where we are today in the bank and what we banked, and we've done our due diligence means to not spend all that. But there are projects coming up, infrastructure projects that need to happen. Again, we have to prioritize and know that we only have a certain amount of income coming in. This could be kind of our rainy day fund, but let's manage it well.
Okay. So I mean, clearly we have got some more.
Yeah. Good job, Trista. Like I said, you're there. And it's like, so now we kind of know, we know what we have, and now it's really going in and saying, where do we spend it?
You can keep me posted if you think you want it ready to do this in December or January.
No, we'll hit December.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this was the hardest part, quite honestly.
Yeah.
This is the hardest part, is getting that start together, and then it's now it's just making the numbers work is what it boils down to.
And I would have to say too that I'm really proud of this whole committee and the way that we've just kind of stepped up and said, all right, we got to tackle this correctly. I'll still use a new card. I'm still relatively new, but I'm learning very quickly on the strengths in this board. So,
Andy, you're
7 months.
7 months. If you were still 6, you could do it, but now you're 7.
All right, 7 months. Right. Not new anymore. I retract that statement.
Right.
At least you didn't go 7 months, 2 days, and
Right.
14 hours.
That is
There anything else that wants to bring up?
I think it's a really nice start. Budgets are very, very difficult, especially with the unknowns that sit out there. Who knows what gas is going to be tomorrow? Who knows even diesel tomorrow? There's just so many things out there. So to have this as a starting point, I think is excellent. And thank you guys for working with it. And thanks to everybody joining this evening. Thank you for coming in and watch us.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to go into
Yeah.
thank
you.
With that, we're going to go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Thank you.
Thanks. Well, thanks, everyone.
You think that was it? Okay.
I know we'll have to get it.